Okay, next anime, M.
Yes.
The
You know,
next
I
one,
hope I hope people actually like this, or we're going to be wasting a lot of time.
I'm sure it'll be fine. The right people will like this.
Okay.
So, our next series is 100 Man no Inochi, otherwise known as in English, I'm standing on 100,000 lives. So, the way this series works is that our protagonist is Yotsuya, who is a depressed and listless teen. We see basically a day in his life where he goes to school, he is alone, he walks back home, very antisocial kind of kid. But the next day, he gets dragged into this fantasy world by two girls who, get him separated from everyone else. And
So I
they're
had to fight my urge to immediately make an isekai joke as soon as you mentioned the night title of the thing. But it is actually, isn't it?
it is an isekai. It is, but it's not. They're not stuck there theoretically. It's complicated. It's more of it's different. It is different than an isekai.
Is Code Lyoko an isekai? The greatest thread in the history of forms?
Funny you should mention that because that kind of feels like what this series is like.
Okay.
So anyway, our hero Yotsuya gets dragged into this other world by Shindo and Hakazaki, the two girls who are nothing alike. One of them is the super popular girl, the other one is a very shy girl. And inside this other world, they meet this strange godlike being who has a big star like shape in his chest, and he has a human face. Only the top half of his head is gone, and he's made out of conspicuous CG. And he doesn't complete his sentences. He says things like, "Hello, I am the game master, and I." He just
And he
cuts
what?
off. He cuts off his sentences at the end. He never says the entire thing. So he brings up this giant roulette wheel and spins it to determine what class Yotsuya is going to get, and it
Oh,
land
jeez.
and it lands on a 0.01% chance of farmer, which makes him incredibly weak and gives him basically nothing of use. There's a hoe and a sickle.
Well, okay, but if it's that rare, then there probably aren't many other farmers. And so his ability to grow food would be in high demand.
Fair, except that that's not how this works. He is chosen to be a farmer. It is rare for one of them to get it, and there's only three of them, and so they go to fight monsters because they have been given this quest. And the way it's explained is that the first girl, I think it's Shindo, I forget which name is which. They have had to complete this quest, and by completing the quest, they got to ask one question, and they were told to recruit this next person. And the idea is that as they go, each new member will get to everyone gets to ask a question at the end of each successful quest, and then they're told who to recruit for the next member.
Is it a pyramid scheme?
Sort of ish.
So from my leader's perspective, it's definitely an isekai, but it's kind of like a reverse isekai because like her alternate world is the real world, but also she can't get out of her world to go to the alternate world.
Is this about Code Lyoko?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
I'm still
ignoring
thinking
it.
about it.
That's fair. I've only seen like a couple bits of it.
I can't say it's a good show, but it's a show I liked,
Okay.
and it's got cool stuff.
Anyway, the mission is they have to complete the request of this old man. So they go to the village, but on the way they encounter some goblins. And it is here that we learn part of the twist of this series. So Shindo is a wind wizard. She cannot actually create super powerful, deadly magic wind. She can just control wind, and unfortunately, it's a very idyllic place. So it's more just like a little gut poof of wind. And Hakazaki is the fighter, and she is just afraid of fighting.
Why are they doing this?
Well, because they
Seems
have
like
to.
anyone else should do it.
They have to, though. They're the chosen ones to do this. They are the heroes. So Yotsuya goes to fight a goblin with his hoe because, like, I mean, I may as well try. And we've seen in
His hose.
yeah, his hoe as in the tool.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and we've seen previously that he does play video games a lot in his free time, so maybe he's good at this sort of thing. And he
God,
immediately
this is the worst part. That's the worst cliche of isekais, is giving gamers rights.
He immediately dies, and then wakes up as a ghost, and he is informed by Shindo that as long as at least one of them is alive, the others can revive in 30 seconds automatically. And since the rest of them are useless, he just death of 1,000 cuts the goblins. He eventually kills them by just smashing his body into them. And this is all well and good. It certainly worked, though it was a little fucked up. And so they get to the town. Or, no, they don't get to the town yet. They spend the night out in the wilderness, and a horrible giant troll appears and eats Shindo, and also eats Hakazaki's arm. And Shindo doesn't come back. And Hakazaki's arm doesn't come back. Because if the troll eats them, they don't come back until the troll is dead. That's not good. That's not good at all. So they get to town, they learn from the village chief that, they have to kill the troll. And Yotsuya, our protagonist, is like, shit, that sucks. I'm gonna go, you stay here, I'm gonna go level grind. And he walks off, and as he walks off, and this is something we've kind of had, like, hints of throughout the episode, he gets this very evil grin on his face, and he monologues to himself about how even, like, no matter how dangerous this place is, it's better than that shithole Tokyo. And we get a flashback that shows him playing what is essentially Dragon's Dogma, and he has to save this person who is in danger, but he opts to kill the monster instead of saving the person, and it's presented as this pretty ominous situation where, like, Yotsuya is not a very heroic person, and at the end, and as the episode ends, we get the title drop of this episode, which is like I forget the specific phrase that they use, but the general idea is that the heroes are bad, they're not good, and that's the series, the episode rather.
Okay.
Any questions? And did you think I like it?
I think you liked it.
I am interested in where it is going, but I would not recommend it.
Yeah, that's the flavor of liking it I had in mind.
Okay.
Because it is an interesting setup, and...
It is an interesting setup. But I'm not sure it'll pay off in any...
Yeah, interesting setup is really the most you can say about it at this point, like...
Yeah. Like, here's a team of losers, and the only one of them who is competent is morally bankrupt.
It sounds like I would rather just watch Konosuba.
Yeah, that's fair. Next up is Yasahime, Half-Demon Princess. Technically, this is a sequel, so I shouldn't be doing it, but it's a sequel to a series that was 20 years ago. I think it's okay. So Yasahime is the sequel to Inuyasha, which is a show that everyone is familiar with, so I don't need to say anything. The episode starts with our main character, one of the titular half-demon princesses, tied up in the magistrate's, like, tea room, I suppose, and they're interrogating her about the future. They want to know what this Reiwa century is, and they want to know how, like, the future goes. And in an amazing example of doing something that the original series doesn't, the main character is like, I can't do anything because if I fuck up the time stream, I might erase my existence, and that'd be bad. Like, this main character is not horny to the point of not caring about time paradoxes.
Is that what Inuyasha was?
I mean, kind of.
I thought he was just dumb.
No, the main Kagome is the person who is too horny to care about time paradoxes. She's the
Is
girl who
Kagome is Kagome the person with the the furry from Inuyasha? I thought that guy's name was Inuyasha.
His name is Inuyasha. Kagome is the main character who is the female protagonist of the show.
I don't understand, but we should just move on.
Okay, I'm putting a asterisk on this for later because we have to watch Inuyasha. Anyway,
I just hear it's a lot of yelling. They just yell each other's names all the time.
Anyway, our main character, who I'm sorry, I completely forgot her name, and I forgot to write it down because I wrote a joke for the description instead of an actual description here.
Ha ha! Serves you right.
She doesn't know about any of the history of Inuyasha, so the magistrate guy is like, well, here is the seat of the iron chariot that the priestess Kagome used to use, and it's a rusted out bike seat. And like, this is an artifact, and we're going to tell you a story about it. And then we have what is essentially a filler episode of Inuyasha happen. Except it takes place after the series ended, so we get to see all of our friends again. And so, like, Moroku, who acknowledges the fact that since he got rid of the wind tunnel curse, he is basically useless because he's not actually a priest. Sango, who has her giant boomerang, who rules, and her kid brother, who is also cool, I guess. And then we get to see the only, like, joke character who I've ever liked, Shippo, who made me scream because, yay, Shippo, the best character. Then we have cool fight scene against this really fucking rad demon called Roothead, and they kill it, but oh no, some of it didn't die. And then we return back to the quote-unquote present day, because this is still technically in the past, but like in the present past, instead of a flashback past. And our main character lady is like, thank you for this story that didn't actually give me any good context. Also, if you don't free me, everyone here is going to have a very bad day. And then the other two main characters show up, her sister and half-sister, cousin, I guess, actually. Then they free her, and they kick ass, and they're super cool, and they run off with the main character taking the future artifacts to ensure that the timeline doesn't get utterly screwed up. And that's the episode.
Okay, I was able to understand less than 1% of that.
Okay.
I think you actually didn't like it.
Okay. In my notes, I just wrote perfect on it. So here is my thing, though. From a personal standpoint, this was basically everything I wanted. From somebody who had, if you were not somebody who has seen Inuyasha, this is a very bad first episode because, like I said, almost all of it is just an episode of the Inuyasha show with just like a front and back end of, by the way, this is not Inuyasha, this is the sequel. And episode 2 is really the first episode, but I didn't watch it because I wanted to be fair.
Okay.
So, I would recommend it, but make sure you are at least familiar with Inuyasha. Okay, next up is Assault Lily Bouquet. Our main character is called Riri. Basically the Japanese way of saying Lily, which is something that she brings up. And she is going to her first year at a school for training magical girls. The magical girls in this series all wear Baroque-style dresses. That no fan service. There is no fan service as part of their outfits at all, unless you like thighs.
Well, a lot of people do, so I'm not sure you can say that's no fan service.
Fair point, but I mean, like, they're not horny designs. It just is incidentally they have like a little bit of thigh.
Maybe we should move on.
Yes, we're moving on. The magical girls are called lilies, which Riri notes in her narration is like, yeah, everyone teased me about, oh, are you going to become a magical girl? And it's like, no, actually. But then she was saved by a magical girl, and it was like, I want to be a magical girl now, and I want to be partners with this one specifically. So she goes to school, and she's a clumsy and goof, basically. And look, if she's a pink-haired, innocent, nice girl, what do you think this is going to be like?
Yeah, I remember Lucky Star.
No, Madoka. It's very Madoka-esque in the way it's presented, because the girl that she's really interested in
Sounds like Lucky Star.
Is stoic and has long, blackish blue hair. But anyway, she gets to school, it's fun, she makes some friends on the first day, she runs into an almost fight, but she gets in the middle of them so they don't fight, and the Homura-ass magical girl, which I put in my notes, is called Yuya, and then an enemy shows up, and the enemy in this series are called the Huge, which is very funny. So the lilies sortie out, and as we have some explanation of how the magical...
Oh, Metal Gear, that's what it reminds me of. I was like, calling your bad guy the Huge reminds me of something.
Okay. But yeah, we learn a bit about the magical girls and how they work in this as they go out to go fight the Huge. And they have charms, which are these mechanical, like, gun-sword combination things that are packed weapons that are fueled by blood. Nothing suspicious about that. And then they get into a fight with the thing, and there's some typical, like, magical girl drama where you're like, I will protect you, and like, no, I don't like you, and I will protect you. And they fight, and Riri saves this one girl who, like, wanted to be a rival to her to get Yuya's affection. But because Riri saved her, she's like, oh, I'm trying not to be a loose lady, so I would like to be with you instead. And also she is, like, canonically a lesbian. Like, it's very explicitly a thing that, oh, this character, Kaede, I think her name is, she is just actually gay. And that's how the first episode ends.
Cool. I think you liked it because of the gay.
Okay, so this is a good first episode, I think. It's a little slow, and it's a little... it doesn't really, like, get you into the world as much as it could. I did like it. I did not like it because of just the gay, though. The action was actually kind of good.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the thighs.
No! Anyway, our next series is Kuma 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 Bear. No response?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Our protagonist is Yuno, who... Okay, so the way that...
Who? I don't know.
We're not doing this.
We're not doing what?
Okay, so the way that the episode starts...
No, who's the protagonist?
It's Yuno!
No, I don't!
It's Yuno!
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, anyway, this episode starts with the idea that this is a fantasy setting. A young boy has ridden a horse to death to get to this town, to get to the Adventurers Guild, to be like, please help, the evil big black snake has come to our village and is killing everyone, we need help. But no one wants to take it because the snake is too dangerous. Except for this one lady who is called Yuno, Y-U-N-O, and she is dressed up in the bear pajamas. And with, like, little bear hand puppets. And she's like, I will help. I will be a scout to get information for the actual adventurers. And then they go. We see some...
I would love if she was totally incompetent.
She's not. We go, and we see some of her bear powers, where she can, like, make bears that you can ride on, and so on and so forth. We go to the village.
You know, bear powers.
Yes. We go to the village. There's a happy time. Like, she has fun with the kid's family, and she's like, I promise that I will do my best to help. She goes to where the snake is, and she fights the snake, and she's basically indestructible. And whenever she is using a magic spell, if she thinks about bears, it makes the spell stronger, and also bear-shaped. And she kills this big snake, and she captures it. Then she goes back to town, and like, I killed the snake. Everyone is okay. And she has a very lovely... dinner and then breakfast with this family that fills her heart with happiness. And then she goes back to the Adventurer Guild and be like, I killed the snake. and here's proof. And she lets the snake's body out of her bear's capture unit thing, and it almost destroys the building because the snake is very large. And then she takes off her virtual reality goggles because this is an MMO that she was playing. Because Yuno is a socially withdrawn and depressed 15-year-old genius girl who has set up her life so that she can play this MMO that is better than the real world all day. Her apartment is a bed and a computer system, and that's basically it. She has stocks set up so that she is like a billionaire. She pays off her parents to go on vacations for all the time, and the only thing she has to really deal with is people delivering food to her apartment, and her grandpa, who is kind of like, you shouldn't do this. And she's like, nah, I'm good. This VR game is much more exciting and fulfilling than actual real life. And that's the show.
I thought that sounded really good with the twist up until she was also a billionaire. That I don't like that part.
Well, I don't know if she's a billionaire. She might have like $1 million, but it's like in yen, so it's more.
Yeah, I know what you were getting at, right? That's the part. It's not the number 1 billion that annoyed me.
It's the fact that she's not actually like a regular person. This is just that she's set up her life so that she can have this wacky comedy adventure in an MMO.
Yeah. It sounds like fun, though. I would probably keep watching it. I think you liked it, but not as much as I would.
Correct. I didn't actually like this one very much. None of the jokes really hit. The main joke here is that Yuno is very like blasé and deadpan, but also that she wears a bear pajama.
You know, part of the problem with this podcast we're doing as a concept is that you can't really tell me if things are executed good or not. And that kind of is the hinge of everything.
Well, I can at the end when we're discussing it after you've guessed if I like it or not. Like, the point is
right.
that I'm presenting it as if it is executed good. And I will say this. It didn't really work for me, but there were a couple times where I did laugh, and it seems like a show that could be pretty good. It just, the first episode is not a great step forward. Okay, our next one. By the Grace of the Gods. Our main character is Ryoma Takabashi, who is an 11-year-old boy who lives in the woods in a secret house he has hidden in the caves with magic. And the way the episode opens is that he says, I am Ryoma Takabashi. I am 11-year-old and I live alone. Alone except for the thousands upon thousands of slimes that live with me. And he goes through like a laundry list of all the various slime monsters that he has and how they help him, like with cleaning dishes or collecting food or like collecting water and stuff. And he just really fucking likes these slimes. And just straight up out the gate, I want to say, the main joke of this series is that this kid just fucking loves slimes.
That's a good joke, but I don't think it's enough for a whole series.
It's not, because this is actually a romance. His peaceful
life... With the slimes?
No, not with the slimes. His peaceful life is interrupted by him running across some knights in the woods who he helps save. The knights are suspicious of him, but after they use this convenient orb to see what his power level is, they notice that, aside from the fact that he's basically just a regular-ass person, like a regular kid, he has superhuman, like, endurance and ability to endure emotional trauma.
Okay. And then that's not a good sign.
And then they leave, and as they leave, Ryoma thinks to himself, it's a good thing they left, because I don't want to tell them the truth. And then we get a reveal that this is an isekai.
He's from another dimension, and he befriended the slimes when he got here?
I will explain. He is actually... He was previously a 40-year-old worker guy in Japan who was completely abused and, like, his entire life, from childhood to adulthood. And he died. And in the afterlife, he meets the three gods of another world who are like, every so often we need to siphon some magic off of Earth to keep our world going, because magic has, because every world has a bunch of magic, but Earth doesn't use any of theirs, so we're just going to borrow some. And every time we do this, we're like, okay, let's find somebody who died recently and bring them to our place so they can, like, have a better life. And what's funny, though, is that before they elaborate too much on the details of this, they mention to this guy, you probably have some questions. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. I died, and you're going to offer me a chance to reincarnate in another world or something. And they're like, wow, did dying awaken you to, like, a third eye or something? And he's like, no, this is just something very common in our world right now. It's really funny, actually. Like, that
The whole show, or just that one setup?
That joke was actually really good.
Okay.
But yeah, originally he was actually kind of okay that he died, until he learned that the way he died was super mundane. Because, like, he sneezed in his bed, and because of the movement of his head, he bumped it against the ground, and it just hit wrong and killed him. And he's like, I've had my boss throw beer bottles at me constantly throughout my life, and this is how I die? This is fucking heinous. So yeah, I'll take you up on that offer. And then they do, and they make him an 11-year-old boy for some reason. But they give him the ability to use all the magic in the world, and the big reveal sort of thing is that he likes RPGs, but since his life has been terrible, he hasn't really gotten to play them ever. And so when he first sees a slime, it's like, holy shit, it's a slime! Slimes are cool, and I'm going to learn how to tame it, and he tames it, and then he gets a bunch of slimes, and that's how his life became what it is. And the end of the episode ends with the knights coming back with the princess, who is an 11-year-old girl, and this is going to be his romance story with her. And also the credit theme is a bunch of... Also, the credits theme is a bunch of slightly horny animal ladies singing song, because they're a side character in the series as well. And that's the episode.
I don't think I would like this one. Sounds dumb. And a little bit creative, but not enough to just, like... Even though it's kind of a creative setup, I still feel like I've seen it before somehow.
I would agree. Do you think that I like this, though, is the question.
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
It hinges on the execution, and I'm really not sure how well it was executed.
That's fair.
So I'm going to guess and say no, because it's a dumb concept.
There were some jokes that I liked. Specifically, I liked the general sense of, I just like slimes. And I liked the joke where he's like, isekais are kind of like standard nowadays, so I know what you guys are up to here. I like those parts. This was just fucking boring. There is nothing here. And also, your reaction to the fact that here is another girl who is around his age, except he's actually a 40-year-old man who is reincarnated as an 11-year-old boy. That is his romantic option. And it's like... Anyway, let's go on to our next anime. The anime is Hypnosis Microphone Division Rap Battle Rhyme Anima.
Can you say that again backwards?
Anima Rhyme Battle Rap Division Microphone Hypnosis.
No, that didn't help.
Okay, so Hypnosis Microphone Division Rap Battle Rhyme Anima takes place...
Rhyme... What's the last word? Can you spell it?
Anima, as in soul.
Thank God! Oh my God! I thought they were flushing their asses out with rhyming.
No! It's M! Anima!
But that's what... Yeah, it's the same word.
No, it's not! Anima is what you're thinking of. Anyway, 3 years ago, the all-woman political party, the Party of Words, has successfully taken over all of the world. as a result, they have now made it. They are now implementing the H law, which is that all militarized weaponry, like basically every weapon, is to be given over to the government and then melted down and gotten rid of, and all manufacture of weaponry will stop. And in their place, we have this, and then because we see this like being this happening 3 years ago, like over all the
To
TVs
resolve
in the
conflicts, we do rap battles.
She takes out a microphone, and she says that this is the hypnosis mic. Words speaking through this will cause misfortune to hit those that you aim them at, and we will be. And from now on, this is how conflict will be solved. The time of men is over. It is now the time for women to take over and for words to rule. 3 years later, we open with these guys following after two members of a rap group called the Buster Bros. And they catch him in a trap, and it's like, there's like a bunch of us, and we've sent 35 guys to deal with your boss, boss bro, so we're going to take you down. And then the boss of the Buster Bros shows up and is like, you really just sent 35 guys? And then he jumps down, and they're like, okay, time to do this. And then they start doing a rap, and because they're using the hypnosis microphone, it makes these amazingly animated and super beautiful like panoramas appear behind them as they do some legitimately really enjoyable raps, as they basically just rap about who they are and the place where they're from, because that is the theme of all of the songs in this episode. Just an introduction to, this is this group, this is their aesthetic, and this is the division of Japan that they're from, thus Division Rap Battle. So the Buster Bros, I forget where they're all from because they're all districts of Japan. But
So all the raps this episode are like, I'm Yugi Moto and I'm here to say I play Dark Magician in a magic way.
yes, but actually well written.
Okay.
Anyway, the Buster Bros, their aesthetic is that they're all brothers, and they're going to beat the fuck out of you. And at the end of the rap, everyone explodes. No one's actually injured because the hypnosis microphones cannot actually hurt anyone or anything. But it does like knock them out. Then we cut over to a drug deal that is being done somewhere, but then it gets stopped, busted by by a member of the Yakuza, a member of the police, and a member of the military, of the Special Defense Force, because this is Japan. And this is the Mad Trigger Crew, and this is not me making politics. This is the explicit text of the series. In the wake of the H-Law coming into effect, the Yakuza, the cops, and the military realize that they're all basically on the same side, so they teamed up together.
So wait, is this change? It's just a law, not like some kind of magic spell they cast on the whole world?
It is a law. It is a law that they enforce.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that the criminals are just... Alright.
They got rid of all the weapons. Now everyone rap battles to solve conflicts. So the Mad Trigger Crew blow up the bad criminals who are doing a drug deal. And then we switch over to the Fling Posse. They have two aesthetics instead of the one of the other groups. Their first aesthetic is that one of their members positions himself like a Momotaro-like figure, with the other members being a monkey and a dog, because it's this part of their aesthetic. It's cool. And the actual main aesthetic of this group is that they suck, but they're having a lot of fun, which means that they win. This is not me saying that they win. This is me saying their aesthetic is, we're having fun, so it doesn't matter if we win or lose. We have already won because we're having fun. And their rap song is the shortest, but also the funniest, because, again, the song is about how they suck, but they're having a good time.
You know, I bet this would work pretty good as either a short or even like a 60-90 minute film.
It
I
might.
I would probably get super tired of this as a series.
That's fair. And then we have Mentonro, which is like their leader is a doctor. One of the members is a salaryman who looks like he is like one bad day away from killing everyone in his building, and who is receiving therapy from the doctor. And then there is a nightclub playboy prince who, when he takes his jacket off, becomes gay. I have only seen one episode. This is my best attempt to understand what the character traits of this person is. Their aesthetic is that they are very powerfully religious in like presentation, and very like they feel like they're the good guy villains, if that makes sense. And then after they have their song where they blow up a terrorist, the leader of the party of words, who is my girlfriend, is like, well, this is going to be interesting. We've taken the 4 leaders of this rap group called the Dirty Dogs and divided them into 4 groups, and we're having them fight each other. This will be cool. And then that's the episode.
Okay. That seems like a lot of episode.
Remember that this was 4 rap songs with 3 verses each. That takes up basically all of the time.
Yeah, this should have been a 1 installment thing. I feel confident saying that. I wouldn't like this. I probably would have changed to the next show after like 3 minutes. I can see you having fun with it through the whole thing, but I don't think you would watch the next one. So I'm going to call it a don't like based on that.
Okay, so in my notes, I wrote fucking perfect. This was it. This was ignoring Yashahime. This was the first anime that we've seen that I would be like, I fucking enjoyed this. This was really good. The raps were all like really good. They had some good beats to them. The lyrics were spicy, and all of the animation was excellent. And when this podcast is over, I will share the videos with you so you can see the music and the stuff that they do with it. It was really cool. I really liked it. It's fucking amazing and silly, and it's cool. I liked it. We have learned things about me today.
Yeah, you got bad taste.
Hey! Hey! So our next series is King's Raid. This is a Korean MMO that has had an original story created for it for an anime. It opens with Casil, our knightly hero, getting his ass kicked by his brother in training. He wants to be a knight that protects everyone, not just like the people, but everyone. And afterwards, they're walking through town, and there's a dark elf that walks past, and everyone is a little racist to them, except for Casil, who is like, no, we shouldn't be racist to the dark elves. And then the dark elf goes away, and everyone manages to calm down because of Casil. And then he finds a priestess friend, who I think is called Ray, according to my notes. I don't think this is correct. And she is basically just a regular big boob priestess lady, except she has a little church stapled to her forehead. That is what it looks like. And she teases him about how he likes to eat bugs. And he does like to eat bugs because later that night at dinner, everyone else is having like steak and he's having a big fried spider. Elsewhere, we see that the king is sickly and his advisors basically are talking about, what are we going to do? We've heard rumors of monsters. And then a very obvious evil man shows up and like, I have dark elves who can help kill the monsters. Use my dark elves and we can do this. They're like, no, we're racist against dark elves. And he's like, that's a bad decision, but I'm going to leave now. And then they leave. And then we get a scene where learn that the Dark Elves are working with the monsters, but also working with the obviously evil man. And the way it is presented is as if the Dark Elves are the good guys, legitimately, but are also doing bad. So a team of knights is sent out, including the brother of the main character and the people he was fighting with. There's a lot of violence that is actually rather graphic, and everyone seems to die, except for one of them who gets away and warns about what happened. And then the obviously evil man shows up and is like, do you want to trust my Dark Elves now? And they're like, maybe. And we get a scene where the two main Dark Elf characters who show up in the opening and also are the entire focus of the credit theme, being like, we're going to use this opportunity to get into the city and kill all the noble people. And that is the series. That is the episode.
That didn't sound like it had a whole lot to it.
No, it did not.
And the way you talked about the violence sounded gratuitous.
It's not gratuitous, it's just surprising. Like, it's not JoJo level of gratuitous violence. It is standard fantasy violence, which comes off as weird given the context of it being a Korean MMO and some of the art looking a little softer than normal.
Alright.
It looks like there would be no blood, but instead we see, like, more blood than you would think.
I wouldn't watch it. Sounds boring. Well, maybe not boring, but you know, like I've said about a couple things, is like it feels like I've seen it before, even though I don't really watch anime. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you would not be interested by the concept or the execution. I think you were lukewarm at best on this.
Spot on in basically every way except for my actual, like, end rating of this. Maybe part of it is because I watched this directly after Hypnosis Microphone Division Rap Battle Rhyme Anima. But this
and it felt that much emptier.
This is fucking empty and boring, and I swear to God, the only thing of interest from this that I could glean is all of the implications that they are putting forward that the two Dark Elf main characters are correct in what they are doing, and the fact that the priest lady has what looks like a church just stapled to her forehead. There's nothing connecting it that makes it look like it would, like, be a circlet or like a crown or a hat. It's just like she has a mitre just posted to her forehead by sticky notes. And also the main character eating bugs feels like an in-joke for the MMO. That is all I could glean from this. This was otherwise absolutely boring. Not the most boring thing on this list, but definitely boring.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, just a minor heads up. The recording turned out to be very long, so I'm going to be dividing this into chunks just so that it's more easily digestible. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all. We will see you all next time for the next chunk of Animes Anonymous. Take care.